Thank you. So, Bitin, if you can just switch off your video so that we can get our panelists on the screen. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists, for joining us today. Today, we're talking about the future of work. My name is Prasar. I run finance and innovation at the Businessworld Group. And it's rare, but it's becoming very common these days to have all women panels like this. And I think I'm equally as happy as I'm sure you must be to see this happening. But I think today's summit that we're running, these panels that we're running is it's great that women are doing such great things, and I'm extremely impressed by some of the profiles that I've seen here, and undoubtedly of the profiles of the panel here. So when we talk about the future of work, obviously there are two key things that have impacted the way work will be in the future. One is obviously work from home, which was an evolving concept which has become preeminent in the last year or so because of the pandemic. It was kind of forced upon us, but I think the late adopters realized that the early adopters had it right all the time, and it's made a positive difference. Even though it's taken time adjusting. The other thing that's impacting the future of work is workplace tech, right? So you've got biometrics coming in, you've got AR and VR coming in. Telecommuting has a completely different connotation as we move forward, right? So I think what I'd like to do is talk about these 2 points, understand our views on that, and then understand how you think that work would look, say, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, given the context of what's happening, just now, as well as what's been happening in the overall context. So before we move forward, if I could just ask each of the panelists to just give us a quick background about yourself, your general views on the topic, and a few points on how you see the future of work emerging. So I'll just go by the order that we have on screen there. Hiral, if we could start with you, if you could just kick it off for us.
Hello everyone, thanks Prasad. Thank you so much for having me here. I think it's been a very interesting and engaging day throughout, meeting and hearing so many successful and inspiring women entrepreneurs on BW. So talking about myself, I've essentially been a trader in capital markets. I was working with a broking firm, then I was designing contracts for exchanges. So that's what I have been, and I know primarily is markets. At Market Pulse, I'm a CFO. I manage the financials and cash flow, primarily focusing on the profitability of the organization. I lead the revenue and growth vertical across all products, strategizing on the pricing, acquisition, retention, and opening new revenue streams. Coming to the topic that we are all discussing here today, I think, talking about the pandemic, it has changed everything, touching all parts of our life, including how we work. It's made us realize that, workplace isn't simply to get work done. It's probably more than that. There is a lot of human connections, human bonds, which is a lot more important than just being more productive and effective at work. So I think as far as the work from home environment and the way we work is concerned, hybrid model is the way forward, is what I feel, where most of it will be done working from anywhere, not really just home. And maybe people will still meet, sometimes through the year when it is really safe for us to meet, to connect, to get that human connections, to really grow and feel like they belong with each other. So that's what I feel.
Right. Thank you, Hiral. Very interesting perspective there. I think I'll come back to you with a few questions from the CFO perspective. Interestingly, on our panel today, we have, although all of you are co-founders and, probably play a multitasking role, but, interestingly, each of you have, at least in your designation, something that's, discrete from each other. So I think we'll come back to some of those perspectives. But, for the moment, moving to Sakshi. Sakshi, if you could just give us, your perspective and a little bit about yourself and POSist.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Prasar. Thanks for having me here. And so I'm Sakshi. I'm a co-founder and chief revenue officer at POSist. We are a global restaurant technology platform. We work with 9,000 plus restaurants across 35 countries with a team of close to 140 people across 5 countries. Been 9 years running the show, and for me, my entrepreneurship journey started back in 2009 with my first startup that was in web services. Ran that for 2 years and ended up investing in a restaurant. I think most of us have this secret desire to open a restaurant someday, and I think I also had it, and a lot of learning, but I think the biggest gift I got out of it was my current company. So we built the product to solve our own problems while running our restaurant, and that is where POSist was born. In 2012, we started POSist. About the topic today, I think it's a very interesting topic, honestly, because it's been 1 year now, more than a year, since all of us are dealing with this external enemy, which is forcing us to change every day, every week, every month. And I think the moment we think that we are past it, it comes back again, right? So we have to change. So change is inevitable, and I think changes in all aspects, personal, professional side, has to be done really, really fast. So the cycles are also compressing, and compressing with technology, compressing with people. So I look forward to a lot of insights from my fellow panelists today on this topic, and learn about the same and share my experiences for last 1 year.
Sure. Thanks, Sakshi. I think, we will come back to you again, in terms of how, these different paradigms are impacting revenue generation and how somebody in your role would cope about it. But, before that, let's move to Rashmi. Rashmi, if you could hear something about Niveus and your thoughts on today's topic.
Hello all, I'm Rashmi George, founder of Niveus Solutions. Niveus is a cloud solutions company based out of Udupi, which is in south coastal Karnataka. I started off my journey in Cognizant, worked there for about 6 years, then wanted to come back to my native and start something over here. So that's how we started off Niveus. So now we are a team of 250, all working from home across various locations, various time zones. Today's topic, yes, very relevant for the current situation that we are living in, right? So last year has been a total unexpected, never heard of kind of a situation for all of us, which really, set a new beginning for the way we live, the way we approach the workplace, right? So some businesses found it really tough. They had a tough time coping up with the change of scenario, while others really emerged and grew in the pandemic times. So I'm really eager to listen to all of you guys, and I think we should put our heads together and really find a way of how we should cope and grow in this kind of changing times.
Sure. Thanks, Rashmi. And I think as a chief people officer, I mean, I'm sure we'll get some perspectives from you in terms of how you see it impacting people, from multiple perspectives, both professional and personal. But before we come back, again, let's hear from Swati. Swati, if you could tell us a little more about yourself and PrimaDollar and your views on what we're talking about today.
Thank you so much, Prasar, for passing it on to me. Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Swati Babel. I am CEO for PrimaDollar India. PrimaDollar is a UK headquartered fintech company, and we always stand for disrupting the conventional ways of how the global trade is functioning around the world. We are a fintech SaaS provider company. We bring exporters, importers, and their funders put together on a platform and change the way conventionally working capital has been sought after. So this is, our company's profile. And coming back to the topic, a very famous Charles Darwin saying is that it's not the strongest of the species that survive, or not the intelligent one, but it is one who survives who is ready to adapt the changes. So that's where we are coming from. And being a satellite office ourselves for the UK entity, I would say we have an advantage, and we were already well progressing in the same direction. This is our way of understanding that the remote working or the hybrid way of working will be the future of work. But I'm happy to hear from my fellow panelists if they have any other view to share with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swati, for those inputs. So, let me go back around the panel again. So, Hiral, if I could, bring you back into the conversation and, specifically from the perspective of CFO, right? We've seen, two ends of the spectrum being looked at with work from home, or even the emerging technologies that are, more strategic rather than just responsive to the current situation. Work from home certainly does, save costs in terms of, cost of the office, cost of conveyance, utilities, etc. But then, it also adds to the cost of technology. You may need to compensate people in other ways. So how have you seen this whole evolution, which has been accelerated in the past year, impact you in your role as a CFO, and obviously, as an entrepreneur overall, what do you see its impact?
So, Prasar, when it comes to saving cost, yes, definitely. World across, everybody's talking about, saving cost. Especially, we are located in Mumbai, so it's a no-brainer. Shut the offices and stay at home, work from home. Let's just do this. But I think at Market Pulse, for us, it's always been about about our people. And even though we are a tech-first company, but we've always focused on the well-being of our people. And what we realized is when really COVID hit, everyone came out with productivity tools popped up in market, and get more work done, more productive, more effective at work. And but somewhere I think the world forgot the human bonds matter more. And while the narrative is always pointing towards burnout, I think the real problem that we actually encountered was that people were feeling a lot isolated. And we realized that work is important, at Market Pulse, but we come to work to meet people, to grow with them, be part of something larger than ourselves. And the sense of belongingness is, getting lost in the whole pandemic era. And unfortunately, I think technology is not able to solve this problem. At least it hasn't been able to solve this problem as yet. And more than businesses, I think the greatest work from home challenges is faced by people. And I think the isolation, the distractions from family, this has been a universal challenge across borders and workforces. At Market Pulse, we've kind of kicked off 2 programs in the last 1 year. Even though we've saved cost on on offices and rentals, I think we've channelized all those funds towards 2 programs. One is Reboot and another is Caravan. So Reboot is something that was basically an idea of giving mandatory off to people. We realized that everybody is working all days of week. People are not taking off. So we kind of are now forcing people where every month we have like a long weekend. Every quarter we have like 3 days off, mandatory off for everyone. And in December we in fact came up with this 9 days long off. The company was shut. We actually shut all our operations for 9 long days. And I think when people came back on 2nd of January, they were all revived. They were rejuvenated. They were very, very happy. And that is something that really gave us happiness, even though, people were, on their own. They were learning different things. They were picking up new skills, maybe traveling in their own safe environment. But I think for the company, it was really, really beneficial in terms of getting back that happy faces into the company while we came back from that 9-day long break. And I think Caravan is something that is what we introduced. We've done a small experiment last year. So it's the concept of co-working and co-living. So I think, as I mentioned, that our approach towards the whole work from home is an hybrid approach, where I think 90% of the time people will be working from anywhere, but that 10% of the time is what Caravan brought about, where we actually like all 40 people in the company, we met, we at a common place, and we lived together for 8 days. We worked, out of that 8 days, we worked for 5 days. And I think the kind of connections that we built in those 8 days was exceptional. People actually understood the pulse of, what really we are going towards achieving, and what is that, that North Star that we are going after. So that has been like really, really, I would say, people could definitely pick that up. If I'll have maybe more stories to share when we actually implement this, even in this year. And, if it is successful, then I think that will be a very innovative way to go forward.
All right. I think great perspective there. I think, the main thought that's in everybody's mind is that, how long will this persist as something that's forced upon us, and how long will, this new paradigm of working remain because it's something that we found more beneficial and we can get better productivity out of. So thanks for those insights. So Sakshi, from purely a revenue perspective, obviously, I would think that most businesses, probably without exception, have seen an impact on revenue, right? Even businesses which have kind of thrived during this period have had various pressures that come out of the way we are working now, right? So, and it's not just about work from home nowadays. It's obviously something that's been evolving over a period of time. So how do you see, the impact on revenue over the past year or so through this new working paradigm? And do you think that there are some lessons that we've learned, some new strategies that we've evolved that can persist over the long term? And how do you see that evolving over the next few years?
I think very valid question. And last entire year has given us a lot of time to force ourselves to think of alternate ways of selling. And especially in our case, right? So we as POSist serve restaurants, and this industry has been the first hit and the worst hit industry during this pandemic, right? For us, our entire revenue from our customers, right, came to a standstill in last April when COVID just hit all of us. And what to do next, right? We had never thought that this problem will come up. My entire marketing and sales strategies at POSist, right, have been a mix of offline and online, right? And every new country we launch, every new country we open an office, right? My playbook says book top 3 exhibitions and conferences in our space, go put a beautiful booth, showcase the product, and we are loaded with leads for the rest of the year. This time when it hit, I was like, where do I get my leads from, right? I had 10 exhibitions booked for 12 months in 2020. I was actually reaching out to everyone just to claim my refunds because there was no way we can participate, right? So now we have to look for alternate methods, right? So switching to digital, I'll not say it's been easy. We were already doing that. When I say that we have team in 5 countries, but customer in 35, definitely we are not present, right, to sell. So the product is on clouds. We give the demos online since always, but so we serve the mid to enterprise segment, right? But to serve an enterprise, we have to meet, right? There are at least 8 to 9 demos with different stakeholders in the companies that we have to give. Now there have been 2 things, right, that happened. One is, on one side, sitting at home, we could actually increase our reach to multiple countries because no one expected us to travel this time, right? All enterprises were available and they were okay to take an online demo, which earlier they weren't. Secondly, we were facing challenges in past to reach to certain C-level people to showcase our product, right? Because they were traveling. Now, this is the time when no one was traveling, right? So we could get meetings from people whom we were chasing for last 12 months, 18 months, right? So I think it came as a very good time for me. My sales team was super loaded in last 1 year, though the industry was impacted really bad. But it has been a difficult year, but a transformational year as well for all of us, right? And everyone is changing. Our companies are changing, our workforce is changing, our customers is changing. And the expectation at every level, is being built and rebuilt to make sure that the end result is achieved, right? So I can say that at my side, transactional level, nothing changed, right? On the revenue side, definitely the targets we have set for the companies in last 1 year, we could not achieve them, but yet we closed the last financial year with at least 30% growth from the previous financial year, right? Because now the entire industry is looking forward to technology to run the business, right? And these are the changes which technology is getting on table. So if I talk about restaurants, right, there were a lot of new products we launched. There were products like QR code menu that we launched, right? So restaurants moved to online ordering platforms. Restaurants moved to cloud telephony to take orders from anywhere sitting at home, right? So 50% of the restaurant staff was not required to be at the restaurant. They could work from wherever they can. Definitely the kitchen staff cannot be replaced. I mean, food has to be prepared there, but technology actually helped them to not stop the business for them, right? So business kept on increasing, customers kept on evolving. Same is with us. So I feel everyone is changing, right? Revenues are being impacted, but everyone's learning how to achieve what we need, because businesses are running and everyone knows that this is the new normal. How long will it stay? No one knows. 3 years, 5 years, no answer, right? So we should change. Definitely one thing I feel bad about this entire work from home and remote thing is it's pretty transactional, right? So as Hiral also mentioned, right, the human touch and the bonding is something which gets lost somewhere in between. And personally at POSist, what I faced as a as a founder and a co-founder is we started rehiring in September 2020. Between September 20 to January 21, we hired close to 28 people, right? Now my problem is they don't know who we are. They don't know the culture of the company, right? They don't know who their peers are. Transactionally, everything is happening, right? They are delivering, their training is happening, their managers are taking care of them, they are taking care of the output. But the overall cohesiveness, right, of the company definitely was getting diluted. And for us, I think what changed is January, as soon as the situation came back to normal, we started voluntary work from office. So we both our Delhi offices, we opened and we said, whoever wants to come, please come back. And surprisingly, within a month, 70% of our team was back working from home, working from office, right? Because now during this pandemic, pre-COVID, I think people were worried about work-life balance. There was more work and how to look for life. Now in this 1 year, people were missing for work, right? They were missing to be next to their colleagues. And I can say things changed within 2 months, right? The entire company was together, productivity increased, everyone is happy. And it was a hybrid model again, right? If you have to work from home, you can. If you have to avoid your travel, you can. You want to come alternate days. The flexibility is there. But I definitely feel the human connect cannot be replaced at all.
Excellent inputs there, Sakshi. I think it cues us very well for asking Rashmi something about how the human touch, how the people culture is changing. But before I go over to Rashmi, although I'm a big fan of technology and I think the QR codes work great, but the way we've seen the senior citizens and some of the less tech savvy people struggling with those QR codes in restaurants these few months, it's been quite interesting. So I think we really need to find some way of making that a little bit more fun for the people who are not so technology.
I don't feel QR code is the future, right? You go to a restaurant just for experience, not to order yourself, right?
Yeah,
as a company, we had to deliver the tech, but I don't believe, once things are normal, we want to order from a QR code. I don't use that.
I would agree, but just some personal experience there. So I think coming to Rashmi, I think great point that Sakshi made about the fact that the human touch has gone missing, but also the point she made earlier about the fact that people who were difficult to catch hold of earlier, right? She did say that now they weren't traveling, so we could catch hold of them, but it was also that people were not just very comfortable, good or bad, conversing and transacting, across the air, right? Mm-hmm. They would rather physically or personally be in the air rather than transact over the air. Plus, of course, the other issues that even Hiral was highlighting about, how it's changed the way we operate. So from the perspective of a chief people officer, and also from the perspective of an entrepreneur, how do you see the people culture evolving in the future of work?
Okay. Yeah, when pandemic hit, Prasar, it was, as I told you, totally unexpected. Work from home was always there in the IT industry, but then the whole, the complete team working from home was totally, a new experience. So the first couple of months was just about how to get the task done, because it wasn't easy to even get the, deliverables delivered on time. When it hit initially, the first couple of months, it was just about getting back to the groove, how to make things work. A couple of months, team kind of figured out how to get work done. But I completely agree with Sakshi and Hiral that it's just not about getting things done. It's not just about that transaction. It becomes very transactional when we just look at it based on the deliverables. It's much more than that. The team engagement, how do you impart the culture? And that's something that we still do not have a solution for. We have also had a lot of hiring that happened over the last 1 year, and there are so many people whom we haven't even met, right? So in that kind of a situation, it's very difficult to build the connect with the people. So what we do is we ensure that we try to talk to them more often, just set up one-on-one connects, and at least talk to them over a video call. We train our managers and middle layer to make them aware of how to deal with team when they are not co-located. They were really good at dealing with teams when they are co-located, but then when they are away, you need to have video calls. Don't just use the phone. You need to talk something beyond work as well, just to ensure that there is a personal connect. So we had to train that middle layer as well. And burnout also was one of the issues, because when you come to office, there's always a demarcation. You come to office and you get back and the work is kind of over, rest of the time you're at home. But now when you're working from home, there is no clear demarcation as to when it starts, when it ends. You get up and start open your laptop, looking at the emails, and that goes on. And burnout was a real issue. So one of the policies that we came up with was unlimited paid time off, where anybody can take any number of leaves. They just need to discuss. There is no cap of 12 days, 20 days, 25 days. You can take a leave, de-stress, just talk to your team about it, plan around it. But then, so we are looking at coming up with certain things. But then I truly feel that human connect is very difficult to establish over tech things. You really need to be there. So our premises are also open. Some people do come in, but then again with the second wave, things are getting back to the old times and people are back home. But I hope eventually we will have to move to a hybrid model where work from home policies would be there, but then we'll also have to have workspace where people could meet and connect and build that engagement.
Sure, thanks. Great inputs there, and I think the idea there, of course, being that some of this stuff is just fait accompli, right? It's not just because of the pandemic; it's also how technology is evolving. So how do we make sure that we structure our work scenarios and workplaces in that manner? So last but not least, coming to Swati, if you could as a CEO give us, and obviously given as an organization which is UK and India, give us how a different technology-driven way of working is beneficial. What are its limitations, and how do you see it evolving over the next 5 or 10 years?
Very relevant question, Prasar. We are talking about is how the internal, within the organization, the workplace has changed. I would also want to add on to outside the organization, the other workplaces or the other work culture has changed completely. We launched a product called Supply Chain Trade Finance, which is a platform. We bring multiple suppliers across the demographies of a single buyer. It might be an Indian buyer or any other countries, or a single buyer, and a multiple funders together on one single platform. on a real-time basis, we execute the transactions. It not only reduces the time gaps. Traditionally, there have been hundreds of different kind of documents involved into a trade. If anyone here is aware of how the international trades are executed, it creates lots of complexity, which means a lot of time, a lot of manpower and the time goes into the entire process of sorting out the documents, making it in a standardized format, which is more readable and understandable to review and assess the documents. The platform helps everybody. It empowers the ecosystem. And you rightly said, Prasad, that these changes were coming already in the picture, whether it was pandemic or not. But yes, pandemic helped everyone to shorten the time gap to adopt these technology or to adopt these digitalizations. And I'm not talking from India perspective. It is also globally happening. We are the pioneer in the industry to launch these products. AI, AML, OCR, these are certain technology adoptions that everybody is incorporating in the systems to get the faster results and employ your people at right places, right utilization of the time, rather than, spending your hours and hours into, I would also say boring, but also monotonous work. With the help of technology, we reduce the error into the entire process.
And now with this
results
technology,
into profitability as well. From the internal workplace culture, I would really want to quote here that we are a very smart company. We always had this practice of having weekly calls. Our presence was always into 13 to 14 countries, and we work with multiple different category of people. We all come together once a week over the video call. That's where you get this human touch, because you're not there in the offices. You really need to have that bond, support people, to have those kind of motivation. If I have to talk about my India team, Prasar, interestingly, more than 50% of my team have toddlers. Now, if you ask them how the work from home is treated, then they all are really happy with the culture that we have adopted. So we also have, implemented a Friday weekly calls. While my, fellow speaker Sakshi and Rashmi was saying that the human touch is losing in entire process, these Friday calls that we have adopted in the company, we come unmute ourselves, we celebrate birthdays by clapping, or we celebrate work anniversaries here. We never intend to lose that touch, of course. So that is how we coped up with this entire situation. People buy from people, so these connects are really important. So while I agree what Hiral says, that the sales cycle has increased because now you are unable to meet these people, your customers. But I also had very different experience, wherein when I called or somebody called me at 9 o'clock and I was in the kitchen cooking, and they know what am I cooking today in my kitchen. And these are the things that created a very strong bond, not just for current organization, and these are the relationships to nurture for the future as well. So I think the entire world is changing and everyone is adopting the new ways of working.
All right, thank you, Swati, so much. So, I think this is a topic that, given the current scenario and what's evolving out there in the market, we could keep talking about it for hours. And I think we probably need to kind of, catch up with all of you sometime soon again to, talk a little more in depth about, how these things are impacting your organizations and the future of work. But, today we're out of time, and, that being said, it was a great session. Your inputs were valuable, and thank you so much. It's great to see women leading organizations, and I think it'll be great to see more women like you taking up leadership roles and making a difference to the future of work. Thank you, everyone.